This is not a story about fame. This is a story about survival. It is the story of a boy born into chaos, shaped by violence, and remembered for telling the truth when no one else would. This is the life of Davon Daquan Bennett, known to the world as King Von. This is the story fell silent when he passed. Davon Daquan Bennett was born on August 9, 1994, in Chicago, Illinois, a city divided by invisible lines, where crossing the wrong street could cost you your life. He grew up in Parkway Gardens, a housing complex on the south side of Chicago. To outsiders, it was just another set of apartment buildings. To the people who lived there, it was a battlefield. Later, the world would know it as O Block. Gunshots were common. Police sirens never stopped. Violence was not shocking, it was normal. Von's father, Walter Bennett, spent most of his life in prison and was later killed. Von grew up without him, carrying a void that would never be filled. His mother, Tasha Bennett, tried to protect her children, but the streets were stronger than any parent. From a young age, Von learned one brutal truth: innocence does not survive in O Block. While other kids dreamed about careers and futures, Von learned how to survive. He saw people die before he truly understood what death meant. Friends vanished, some to prison, others to graves. Funerals became regular events. School offered no refuge. Violence followed him inside classrooms. Outside, the streets were waiting. Von developed a sharp mind and a powerful memory. He remembered faces, moments, conversations. He could retell events with incredible detail, almost like scenes from a movie. Even then, people listened when Von spoke. But the streets were pulling him in deeper every year. By his teenage years, Von was fully involved in street life. In O Block, affiliation wasn't a choice, it was survival. He became associated with the Black Disciples, one of Chicago's most well-known gangs. Rivalries were deadly and deeply personal. Every loss demanded revenge. Every action had consequences. Social media made everything worse. What once stayed on the streets was now broadcast to the world, turning local conflicts into public wars. Von lost close friends. Pain piled on top of pain. There was no time to heal, only time to react. Fear disappeared. Anger took its place. During these years, Von formed deep bonds with others from O Block, especially Lil Durk. Their connection was built on shared trauma, loyalty, and loss. They understood each other without words. Lil Durk saw something in Von that others didn't. Not just street credibility, but a voice, a real storyteller. At the same time, artists like Chief Keef were beginning to escape Chicago through music. Von watched from the sidelines, not yet realizing that the same door could open for him. For now, survival came first. In 2014, Von's life came to a halt. He was arrested on serious charges, including murder. If convicted, he faced decades in prison, possibly life. Jail stripped away everything: freedom, control, identity. Days blurred together. Nights were long. Time became heavy. But something unexpected happened. Von began to write. He wrote stories about his life, about the streets, about the people he lost. Writing became his escape, his therapy, his way out, at least mentally. Behind bars, Von started to imagine a future where his voice could be heard beyond concrete walls. In 2017, against all odds, Von was acquitted and released. He walked out of jail a free man. But freedom came with a choice: go back to the streets or change everything. Lil Durk didn't hesitate. He brought Fon to the studio and pushed him toward music seriously. Fon trusted him. This decision saved his life, at least for a while. Von stepped into the booth with no formal training, but with something more powerful: real stories. He didn't rap to impress, he narrated. When he released Crazy Story, the internet froze. It wasn't just a song, it was a movie without visuals. Every line built tension. Every detail felt real because it was real. The song went viral, millions of views. Overnight, King Von was no longer just from O Block, he was heard worldwide. Von didn't slow down. Crazy Story, Part 2, took her to the O. Why he told. Each release felt authentic and dangerous. Fans believed him because he lived what he rapped. His mixtape, Grandson Volume 1, and later projects cemented his place in drill music. Unlike others, Von didn't glamorize violence. He reported it. Behind the tough image, Von was deeply emotional. He was a father who loved his children and wanted to give them a life far away from O Block. He was in a high-profile relationship with rapper Asian Doll. Their relationship was intense, full of love, arguments, passion and pain. It played out publicly, just like everything else in Von's life. Fame brought money and opportunity, but it didn't erase the past. As Von's star rose, so did danger. Old enemies resurfaced, new conflicts formed. Loyalty to his people often put him in risky situations. Legal problems followed him even during success. The streets never fully let go. Von was living between two worlds, and both demanded everything. On November 6, 2020, in Atlanta, Georgia, everything ended. Outside a nightclub, an argument turned into a fight. The fight turned into gunfire. Shots rang out. King Von was hit multiple times. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. At 26 years old, King Von was pronounced dead. The news spread instantly. Fans were devastated. Artists mourned. Lil Durk lost a brother. Asian Doll lost someone she loved deeply. O Block lost one of its loudest voices. Even in death, King Von's voice lived on. His music continued to chart. Fans dissected his lyrics like chapters in a book. His songs became documentaries of a life few survive. King Von didn't just rap about the streets, he documented them. King Von's life was short, but heavy with meaning. He showed the world what happens when talent rises from trauma, when truth is louder than fear. His story is a warning, a lesson, a legacy. From O Block to the world, King Von will never be forgotten.